Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tion Crochet.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make my Shay Cosmetic bag or hook pouch. These are great bags for all the essentials, especially if you carry around a bigger purse. You can put a lot of your looser stuff in here and then throw it in your big purse. I am not a purse person, so what I use these bags for is my crochet notions, crochet hooks, stitch markers, tape measure, pencils, scissors, all that good stuff. I put it in these bags. I already worked my bag up here. I used Lily Sugar and Cream, which is 100% cotton worsted weight yarn. This color is called Dark Pine. I like cotton for my bags, especially if you're using this inside a larger bag. Cotton yarn is really durable, so throwing it in, pulling it out, it's going to get a lot of use, a lot of wear, and cotton is durable. Acrylic will start to pill a lot faster. But if you do decide to use an acrylic yarn, I just recommend you go up a hook size because cotton is a more relaxed fiber. So if you follow the same pattern with the same hook size and an acrylic yarn, your bag will come out smaller. If you use a lighter cotton yarn like Hobby Lobby's Crafter Secret or We Crochet Dishy, you may want to go up a hook size as well. Since those yarns, yes, are worsted weight, but a little bit thinner than Lily Sugar and Cream. Take gauge, that's the best thing you can do. To go with my Lily Sugar and Cream, I'm using an H8 5mm crochet hook. There is a canvas bag inside my bag. That is what I use for my lining. It's already sewn up. It already has the zipper. It's fantastic. I get them at Hobby Lobby. And my bag measures 9 inches wide by 6 inches tall. If I'm making the bags for myself, I often will not sew it in. But if you're going to be selling or gifting this item, then I highly recommend you sew the crocheted fabric to the liner. And for that you would need sewing thread and a needle or sewing machine. I know a lot of makers hot glue theirs in. I like my bags to be machine washable and dryable, and hot glue sometimes just does not work well with the washing machine. So if you do decide to glue in your liner, I just recommend hand washing your bag or putting a note on it for whoever you're gifting it to or selling it so they know how to care for the bag. If you're using a bag lining similar to mine, you'll want to have a soft tape measure with you so you can take gauge. Gauge is only essential if the finished size of the bag matters. So for example, I'm going to put this smaller bag inside my bag. Gauge is essential so that it will fit over this bag. If I was going to sew my own lining for the bag, then gauge would not be essential. If I was not going to line the bag, gauge would not be essential. So it depends on the way that you're doing your project. Before we get started, let's talk about gauge. Gauge is measured in pattern, meaning in the single crochet pattern worked in rows that you're turning at the end. You'll take your soft tape measure, you'll lay it on the edge of one of the single crochets. I like to measure the ones from the right side. So I'm looking at this one right here, and I've laid my tape measure just to the right of that stitch, where the stitch would technically end. Then measure across, counting 15 single crochets over, and it's going to measure 4 1/8 inches wide. The height is going to be measured over 17 rows, and that's going to also equal 4 1/8 inches wide. And the rows group themselves together in twos. It's really easy to see the definition. There's 2 rows, there's 2 rows, there's 2 rows. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to work my sample in Red Heart Super Saver. This is called Tea Leaf Green. I pulled the working yarn over my fingers. Going to wrap it around my index finger 2 times. Hold the tension with my thumb and my middle finger. Pull the loop that's on the left up over the other loop but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the loop that's on the left now up over the other one and off my finger. Take my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger, pull it off. Hold the working yarn with my right hand, and the short tail end in my left I'm going to pull to normal tension. I'm going to start with a chain 33. To chain, we yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. That gives me 3 chains. I'm going to continue working until I have 33 chains. Now that I have all my chains worked, it's going to be 2 half double crochets into the second chain from the hook. We don't count the loop that's on our hook. There's 1, 2 chains. Yarn over, insert your hook directly into the center of the chain. Yarn over, pull through. 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same exact stitch. Yarn over, pull through. 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. We're going to continue working just 1 half double crochet into each of the next 30 chains. That's all the way up to the second to last chain. Let's work 1 more half double crochet together. Yarn over, insert your hook into the center of the next chain. Yarn over, pull through. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Go ahead and continue working down the chain. I have just 1 more chain left there. This is the last chain. We're going to work an increase in there. Increase just means multiple stitches in the same stitch. So it's going to be 3 half double crochets into that very last chain. The chain might open up like this just because it's not secured. You can hold the knot there and pull the tail end. It'll close up that. We'll secure it when we weave in our ends. We're now going to rotate our fabric so that we can work on the left side of the chain. That is the opposite side of the foundation chain, as we're ultimately going to end up with an oval here for round 1. I'm going to work a couple stitches, maybe 2 or 3, over my beginning tail end so it can count as the first pass of my weaving. I do 3 passes. So I'm going to hold that up to my chains so that I can crochet over it. Before I do that, take note where you just finished working. Your next stitch is going to be worked into the very next chain to the left. And we're going to work into the next 30 stitches just working on the opposite side of the foundation. So where you have 1 stitch here on the right, you'll have 1 stitch across from it on the left, work into the same exact stitch. So as I insert my hook here into this stitch, I have the tail end on top of my crochet hook as well. So when I yarn over and pull through, it captures the yarn there. I'll work 2 more stitches over the tail end. And now I'm going to drop that. I'm going to continue to secure this later on when I weave in my ends. And I'll continue working down the row. 30 half double crochets in total. And now I'm back to the beginning of my round. The next stitch here is where we worked our first 2 half double crochets. We're going to work 1 more half double crochet into that very first stitch, and that will complete that corner with 3 stitches. Then I'm going to find the very first stitch, insert my hook under both loops, yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop on my hook to complete a slip stitch. That is how we're going to join every round. So I'm just going to pull up a loop here, and you'll see that our piece is an oval. The way that the purse is built, this is the very bottom of the purse, and then it'll just fold up right there in the center. And now we'll just build up from here. We finished round 1 with 66 half double crochets in total. The remaining rounds are all going to be with 66 stitches. Rounds 2 through 25 are going to be worked the same exact way. We're going to start with a chain 1, and then we're going to turn, single crochet into the first stitch, and each stitch all the way around, then slip stitch join. To work a single crochet, we insert our hook into the stitch. The first one is worked into that very first stitch just to the left of where our beginning chain is. Picking up both loops from that V-shaped stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert my hook into the next stitch, picking up both loops from that V-shape, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert my hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Continue working into each stitch, 1 single crochet all the way around to the beginning. At the end, you'll have 66 single crochets. There's my last stitch of the round. Insert my hook into the very first single crochet, picking up both loops there. Yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop on my hook to complete a slip stitch. As I mentioned, each round is worked exactly the same here on out. So chain 1, turn, single crochet into the very first stitch of the round, then single crochet into the next stitch, and each stitch all the way around. Once you're back to the beginning, slip stitch join to the first stitch and then begin again. You're going to work a total of 25 rounds. That's going to give you a bag that is about 8 3/4 inches tall. You can add more rounds if you need more height, or take out rounds if you need less height. Here's the very last stitch of my last round. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch as normal. Then I'm going to fasten off my yarn with the tail end long enough I can comfortably weave in. Pull up on that loop to break it. Insert my hook into the same exact stitch that I slip stitched from the wrong side to the right side. Yarn over and pull that tail end through, and it'll put it on the back so it's easier to weave in your ends. For weaving, you're going to need a tapestry needle. Go ahead and turn your bag to the wrong side. Here's my beginning tail end down here that I worked over for a couple stitches. I like to stick my hand in the bag. It helps me get to my fabric a little bit easier. I work all of my weaves the same way. Rather than picking up the whole entire stitch, I insert it into the center of the stitch, breaking it in half. Then I'll work through several stitches here, and when I exit, I'm going to break the last stitch in half as well. This is just going to help me capture my yarn better in there. Then I use my fingers to manipulate the fabric so that it doesn't bunch up there. I want it to still continue to lay flat. Since I worked over several of my stitches, that counts as my first weave. I've just done my second one, and now I have just one more pass. 3 is my magic number here. I'm going to break the stitch in half that I'm entering, work back through several stitches there, and upon exit, break my stitch in half as well, and then pull through. I like to give it a tug, then use my fingers to make sure that fabric's laying flat, and then I'm ready to fasten off. Up here is where I fastened off my last one. I'm going to turn the bag so it's upside down so I can put my hand in it. And I'm just going to weave this in vertically through several stitches here. I don't want to weave it horizontally because I don't want to prohibit any of the stretching widthwise. I'm going to do it the same exact way, breaking my stitch when I enter and exit, and do 3 passes. Now I did have to restart my yarn here, so I will have to weave that in. I'll do that off camera. When you're ready, turn your bag to the right side. And it's ready to go. This is where I would insert my canvas bag there. And again, if it's for myself, I don't sew it down. I like to be able to just change out my bag covers whenever I feel like trying something different, or maybe to match an outfit, or however I'm feeling that day. Just mostly because I'm not a huge fan of sewing, so I don't like to take that extra step, and it works out fine for me. But again, if you're going to be gifting or selling this, I highly recommend that you stitch it together. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. You'll find the link to this in the description box below. Please smash that like button and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.